swollen skies above Karachi, always filled with predators. Once it was vultures, now hawks and eagles clash for the morsels below. And at street level, the living is as fierce and the human predators ever-changing. Karachi is pockets of wealth and great swaths of poverty. It's one of the fastest-growing cities in the world, and an element to that growth worries Pakistanis. They believe that hidden among the average Pashtun migrants coming to Karachi, fleeing the violence in the border regions with Afghanistan, are militants. The Taliban, strong elsewhere in Pakistan, boasting of building influence here too.
When the time comes, we will prove that Karachi is ours.
Already, NATO supply trucks here have been burned. And in one of the city's most dynamic and popular spots, Pakistan's largest CD market, there's concern about threats made by groups calling themselves the Taliban, which consider the market un-Islamic. They warn, close it or it will be bombed. That infuriates.
If they shut all these things, then we'll be in the Stone Age.
Behind the barricades, under the watch of security cameras, and into the nerve center of Karachi's ruling party, the MQM. Politically paranoid, physically threatened by a Taliban presence in its territory, MQM watches for signs of the new predators, believes the war in Afghanistan and tribal regions pushes them here.
It's strategically important for Taliban to just get away from those areas where operations are happening. So they are moving back, strategically and tactically, just to save themselves.
He says specific neighborhoods in his constituency are used by the Taliban as a base for their extortion, especially the main highway.
So you're saying that the people who work along here on the highway have to give half of their money to the Taliban?
To the Taliban, yes, that's very true.
So this is all about fundraising?
They are using Karachi as a strategic purpose of economic affairs.
Some say MQM has a history of violence and exaggerates the Taliban threat. But a local guide took us to that highway and confirmed the extortion allegations. He told us it's the people working on those hundreds of excavators who have to pay, and that all of those trucks are owned by Pakistan's top Taliban leader, Batullah Masood. It's a lucrative business. All of this is seen from inside our car, because in this neighborhood, we're told, foreigners are not welcome.
They are supporters of Batullah Masood, all living in this area.
Is there much support for the Taliban in this neighborhood?
Yeah, very much supporter in this area.
Is it any wonder? These neighborhoods are largely ignored by local governments, so help comes from elsewhere. And from Karachi's most famous daughter, Fatima Bhutto, the argument that militants capitalize on the government's neglect of poor migrants.
They have no amenities, they have no services provided to them. They are not given stipends to live, they are not given any sort of health insurance. So it's very easy for militants to come among them, to provide them with services, with healthcare, with food, in exchange for cover.
If the face isn't familiar, the name surely is. Fatima Bhutto is the niece of assassinated Benazir Bhutto. Her father was also a political star, gunned down just steps from the family compound, her home. She acutely feels the failures of Pakistani security and expects little from police forces, which get little.
The police that patrol my city have to pay for the gasoline for their police mobiles out of their own salaries.
The individual police officers pay for the gas for the truck?
Because the budget goes down several layers before it reaches the station. And by that point, it's been picked clean.
Karachi's police aren't to be envied, particularly the anti-terror squad. In the last few years, as the nation's security has deteriorated, their jobs have become harder.
In some parts of Pakistan, police are fleeing their posts because it's just too dangerous for them to fight the militants. The men of this Karachi squad say no one has walked away here, even though these units are increasingly targeted.
The chief superintendent has every reason to flee. Just last year, he was critically wounded in a roadside bomb that was meant for him, the work of the Taliban.
Are you still a target?
Yes, I'm still target. But I'm doing my job for my country, for my nation, and I will do till my last breath, inshallah.
They brought us here because this is where months ago they had a deadly confrontation with Taliban militants. Several in the unit died, and some militants just melted back into the community. All they can do is try to catch up, and they just aren't equipped.
And we are doing well, but not as much as we need as a technical assistance, like a mobile phone tracking system and other technical facilities which are using in the world. We are doing a lot with nothing.
Poor surveillance, poor weaponry, no forensics labs, minimal pay. This is how Pakistan deals with the terror threat in its most important city. What about the promises of President Barack Obama? Will the billions more in aid help the fight? Fatima Bhutto seems to doubt it.
Is this country capable of fighting terror?
Absolutely, the people are capable. I mean, I don't know about this government. How do you fight terror when you concede and you capitulate to Islamic militants in the Swat Valley? I don't think that's fighting terror. But the money that comes in is being given to a party that has a history of corruption. So where do we think $7.5 billion is going to go?
The people of Karachi are strong, diverse, and fed up with being victimized. They don't want the Taliban in their midst. But Pakistan's predators, all of them, are opportunists. And in this nuclear nation's largest city, there is plenty to feast on. Adrian Arsenault, CBC News.